Big fluff.
How do I look?
Well, personally, I think you look better with two tits. Yeah.
Oh, shit, man. What happened to my other... Hey! You're eating my bosom!
Look, just try to pay a little more attention to the details, you know? We don't have to be babes. Just believable. You know, by this time tomorrow, we'll be back in the house. After that, we repress and deny any memories of this whole experience. Right?
I look like shit.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. I look like shit.
No, you don't. You look beautiful.
What's easy for you to say? You're pretty.
Thanks. You know, I just kind of throw it together and, you know.
Oh.
Hey everybody, I'm Joel Murphy.
And I'm Andy McIntyre.
And this is Silver Linings Playback, the podcast where we watch maligned movies and we find their silver linings.
And we are still watching school movies because it's back to school season. And this week we watched Sorority Boys. And here to talk about it, friend of the show and spouse of one of the co-hosts, Molly Regan. Hey, Molly. How's it going?
Hello. It's going well. But which co-host?
Ooh.
We'll never know.
I'll never tell. Also, Andy, I think the one thing you left out of that intro is Sorority Boys enthusiast, Molly Regan.
That's true. Sorority Boys enthusiast.
That is true. I won't say I unapologetically love this movie. I, with many apologies, love this movie.
That's the right attitude.
Yeah. No, I think that's correct. I had been telling Joel about this movie, spoiler alert, that's the spouse, since we got together. And it wasn't until this past year that I made him watch it because I do quite enjoy this movie, despite how many flaws it has. And there are many.
Yeah, I think we're going to get into all of that. And I had never seen this movie. Yeah. So
I'm so sorry, but also so excited.
And while I think objectively this is not a good movie,
no,
it was better than it was less painful than I thought. And that could be because this podcast has absolutely wrecked my barometer for what a good movie makes at this point. But yeah, I think there are some genuine silver linings that we'll get to as we get to that point of the show.
This movie was absolutely made for this podcast. And I actually brought it up to Joel when you guys first started, where I was just like, you have to do it. Like it's pitch perfect for this show.
And after 4 years of constant nagging, we finally got there.
Yep. No, he did a few days ago walk in. He was like, how would you feel if we did Sorority Boys? Would you want to be on the show? And without skipping a beat, I was like, yes, of course. Yeah. I have to.
Well, would you, for the people who aren't familiar, would you like to set up the plot of Sorority Boys?
Yes, 100%. Okay, so in Sorority Boys, there's a frat house called the KOK house. That's the cock house. This is a bad frat full of bad dudes. But there are some guys who are going to get redeemed in this movie. Now, at the cock house, they throw your typical Greek life frat party, which means gross and misogynistic. There's another house, it's a sorority house called the Tri-Pi house. This is where all the hot girls go. They go to the cock house, and this is where your typical, like, we're the mean girls. We go hang out with the guys from the cock house, and we play out our terrible, dumb lives together. Again, this movie has many flaws. Now there's a third house called the DOG house. This is the dog house. This is the sorority where all of the cast aside women of society go.
All the gorgeous Hollywood actresses.
Yes, exactly. Now, the doghouse will send women to the cockhouse to kind of like do these spy missions to basically try to unveil what horrible misogyny is going on at the cockhouse, which is, I would argue, a little weird because everyone knows, they just don't care. But we're introduced to this whole world because one of the members of the DOG house is at a cockhouse sorority or fraternity party, and they are subjected to a tradition at the cockhouse called dog catcher, which is a horrible game where they blow a whistle and take a net and scream dog catcher and throw a net over what they consider to be an ugly woman and throw her in front of the doghouse and basically go, you don't belong here. Go to the ugly house. These are our characters. This is our world. So we have 3 main characters in the movie. I genuinely don't remember their names, even though I love this movie.
The actors are Barry Watson, Michael Rosenblum, and Harland. What's his last name? Harland Williams?
Yeah, it's also Michael Rosenbaum of Smallville.
Rosenbaum, that's right.
Yeah, he was Lex Luthor on Smallville. Yes.
See, I only remember their names as the movie progresses, but they are caught up in this scandal where they're framed for
by
fraud.
Matt
Yeah. Oh my God, kind of, yeah. They're in charge of keeping the I don't know if they're treasurers or what in the house.
Barry Watson's character is the treasurer, I think.
Okay. I don't know. Fraternities in Greek life don't interest me. They're stupid and silly.
Well, if you're ever curious, if you tune into Mackin' with Andy Mac, this is a lot of what he talks about is the dynamics. Like, it's a real cockhouse energy over there on Mackin' with Andy Mac.
Big time cockhouse energy at Mackin' with Andy Mac.
Cockhouse energy.
Well, that is a segment. Welcome to the Cockhouse is one of the segments that Andy does on that.
It gets the most comments.
I can't decide if that makes me so interested or so repelled, which
yes.
Yes. I was going to say also the selling point of Sorority Boys. They're in charge of the money that funds the cockhouse. And they wake up one morning, all the money's gone. They contend that they've been framed. Somebody stole all the money. They get kicked out of the cockhouse. How could you do this to our fraternity? So they devise a plan to get the money back, which is they're going to dress up as girls to go back into the house and get a tape, which I think we can address later why there's a tape that would prove that they've been framed for stealing the money that funds.
It ain't security footage.
Yeah, it's a tape. It's a camcorder that is set up in Michael Rosenbaum's a room that has a motion sensor that records anytime anyone enters the room. We will get into, I imagine, why he would want that. Again, it ain't for security, but yes, he has a camera, and they realize the camera was pointed at the safe that had the money in it.
So they're like, oh, we'll dress up as women to go in, get the tape, and then that'll exonerate us. So they just kind of assume they'll be able to do this. They go to the party and pretty immediately are clocked as being some ugly motherfuckers.
They get dog catcher.
And they get caught up in a game of dog catcher and are thrown outside of the doghouse. So, of course, the house mother of the DOG house welcomes them in, and they decide to live in the doghouse as women to, at first, get their life back at KOK house. But they learn some lessons. As Adina, Daisy, and Roberta. Because again, I cannot remember their names before then.
Well, here,
Barry Watson is Dave.
Yeah.
Harlan Williams is Doofer. And Michael Rosenbaum is Adam.
Yeah.
And sure, but are they? Are they?
We could argue they find their
100% Rosenbaum is Adina.
Oh yeah.
Well, they find their true selves when they go over to the doghouse. Also, Leah is the president of the doghouse, who is a character that only existed in this era of films of like a hyper specific type of like nerdy feminist in movies like this that then reluctantly falls for a guy who's an asshole who barely learns a lesson. But that she's a very specific archetype that existed.
I believe they call that PCUing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. But that also is like ridiculously beautiful.
Oh,
like,
she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
As are most of the girls in the doghouse.
Yeah. Yeah, but has that of like, God, look at this dog. And
she's
like,
tall.
Yeah. But it's like, she just has glasses. I also call that she's all thatting.
Yeah, that's yes.
Yeah. Well, to cover it, there's I believe Patty's the giant, right?
Patty's the giant, the gentle giant.
Who is a beautiful woman named Catherine Stockwood plays her. Then you have Katie, who just has an annoying voice, played by the iconic Heather Matarazzo. I couldn't say that for some reason as I tried to say it, but yes, Heather who's come up on the show before because we definitely did
Devil's Advocate,
her finest work.
Yes.
And then there's Yvonne Skio, who plays Frederique, who's a beautiful woman who just needs to be taught how to shave by Harland Williams.
Only because she wants to.
Mm-hmm. But that's what's holding her back. That is why she's a
foreign.
Dog.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just a hot French lady.
Who does, I know we're not at Silver Linings yet, but does smoke the entire time she learns how to shave.
She's great.
Yeah. But yeah, so they that's their plan, is they're going to pretend it's a very circuitous plan. I won't bother because what is the point to point out that I would think that Jimmy's affection for Michael Rosenbaum's Adam might have just allowed them to get the tape without having to do all of this. But it didn't occur to him. It's fine.
Yeah.
But as they live in the doghouse, which, by the way, that's implied that they named themselves that, right? They chose their own the sorority name,
yes,
right?
Apparently the sorority Delta Omega Gamma doghouse.
Yeah, that's self-applied, that choice. But yeah, so she, like they as they live as these hideous women alongside these outcast women, they learn some things about themselves. They commit some sex crimes and learn about the other sex crimes that they did and how they shouldn't have done those sex crimes. And then they apologize for some of the sex crimes.
They prevent other sex crimes.
And prevent some sex crimes.
Yeah.
This is a movie that revolves more around roofies than you would expect. Or maybe you would expect. I don't know. But
I would say that for a frat movie set in 2002, slightly light on the roofie content.
That's true.
And acknowledges it. This movie's confusing. Like,
I'll push back on that a little bit and say that this movie isn't confusing. It's confused.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that.
Is this movie decrying like the sexual violence and rape culture that's associated with the frat life in the late aughts and early aughts? Or is it just saying, yep, it's a thing? Like, what is it doing?
I think just saying it is. And then
it's a big deal. Yeah.
No, that's it.
Yeah, I think it does. I'd say the movie has a heart, and I think it treats the dog characters, the dog sorority characters, like better than you'd think. As much as they're beautiful women with these whatever flaw, like it's actually very sweet to them as characters, and I don't think like beats them up as characters. But I'd say on the other side, I think nothing is more emblematic of just this movie and its messaging and like where it kind of fails to really have teeth in condemning any of this is at the end, where once they've revealed like everything and they've solved everything, there's a moment where Adam so Jimmy roofies Adam when he's a woman to like take advantage of him. He's a horrible
Adam was planning on roofing him so he could knock him out to tape the tape.
Yeah,
Yep.
he was gonna. They roofie each other, and then there's some question as to what happened after they were both roofied, which is classic early aughts hilarity. But at the end, so he knows that this guy tried to roofie him when he thought he was a woman, but they've become better people. So he pulls Jimmy aside and says like, "Hey, she's a friend of mine. Go easy on her," and then encourages him to date one of the
To date Heather
sorority.
Matarazzo.
Yeah, to date Heather Matarazzo. So it's like, is that moral? Question mark.
You need to learn some stuff about whisper networks.
There's just a lot. This movie is, I think, in a word, inconsistent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both in like quality and logic and sense, but also in messaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also pretty lazy. And I think that like, it's clear that everything was the first pass. Like they're the cock house. They're the dog sorority. This is the plot. They need to get the tape back. So we'll say it now because so the whole thing is that Adam, he tapes when he has sex with women, non-consensually, tapes women that he has sex with, that because of
We
motion
covered
sensor
2
goes
sex
off.
crimes.
Yeah. There's another one. Don't worry, because Dave, when he's pretending to be a woman, showers with Leah, who can't see him because she doesn't have her glass, because she can't see a thing without her
My
glasses. So they shower together.
Mhm.
I will say I was very surprised that Melissa Sagemiller, who played Leah, did a topless scene there. Might have been a body double, but I was just surprised. That it was.
My friend, it would 100% was a body double. Yeah, classic telltale sign of just
no face,
no face, just midsection.
It was the other bust shot.
Yeah. But yeah, zero chance that was her. But yes, there is nudity in the scene where he is pretending to be a woman and showering with her and creates There is so much of this movie is about them creating the appearance of boobs using the objects around them. Soap, fruit.
Danishes. Just like for guys who are at least for Adina, like who's like, I'm getting laid all the time. It's like, but have you seen boobs? Like, because given how you're creating your own, it seems like you've never actually seen some.
I mean, there's just like 2 bags of sand.
It very much has the bag of sand vibe.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say like that's one of the things. The messaging is super inconsistent. I think the writing it's fair to say lazy most of the time. A good example being that like after they reach a point where the doghouse girls are trying to get on this yacht for the final confrontation, and they go like, oh, well, there's a powder puff football game that we can play to win a spot, which I guess is just 2 teams. And it didn't seem like they signed up in previous years. So I guess it's just an open challenge that happens that no one shows up for until they showed up for. And I don't know what happens if they hadn't showed up, because the other girls were dressed for a football game. So maybe they play each other, like they split up into 2 teams.
Well, I think that maybe because the team actually challenged them, they were ready. But I don't know. With the amount of just violence and cheating that the Tri-Pies engaged in the Powder Puff game, I would be reticent to play them as well.
It is fun. Oh, go ahead.
I actually didn't take that as lazy writing. I took that as like it's a technicality that it's just like, oh, sure. Yeah. Whoever wins the Powder Puff game. But like, no, it's traditionally like Tri-Pies and the cock house go together. So nobody gives a shit about the Powder Puff game. It never happens. Like that.
I think it's lazy writing that a football game even exists.
Right. Well, and especially because then they don't honor it. Also, I love the idea of the ref who seems to be an impartial official in a ref shirt who still allows them to cheat unapologetically. Like, why not make that one of the cockhouse guys? Like, why bother to bring an impartial?
Yeah, why bother having an actual ref? Yeah, it does make a ton of sense to not. Yeah. And it's just a series of, and I mean, this gets into, I think, one of the other silver linings of like bosom buddy-esque writing.
Yes.
Because it does start, because of course later on the movie, or one of the Daisy/Dave's dad is played by Peter Scolari of Bosom Buddies fame, because I guess Hanks was busy.
He didn't want to do this?
I don't know. I assume that's what happened.
But yeah, also we should talk about the dads, because the whole thing and what Adam is really trying to make sure happens, which is important to him. I think it's Adam. It might be Dave. Whoever it is. One of them is trying to get a job. It is Dave. Is trying to get a job. The way the world functions, which this is the most accurate part of the movie, is that all of their fathers are rich guys who also were in the same fraternity, who make them throw a giant yacht party to decide if they're going to hire them after they get out of college. So they can ogle
the college co-eds. Yeah.
That 100% is the most realistic thing in this movie.
That happens. Yeah. 100%.
Well, that's why they need the money for the party, because if you don't throw a good party,
you end up like Brian Posehn.
Yes, exactly. Well, yeah, that was the year that they had, a homeless stripper in softcore porn.
The worst kind of porn.
Yeah. This is the moment where I want to point out that I love this movie because I watched it at slumber parties when I was in middle school.
Again, the right age.
Like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
I think, I don't know if there's any other specific things we need to malign, but I think maybe a way to be in some liminal space and get us to the silver linings is, if nobody else has anything, maybe we can just go through the 3 arcs that our main characters have, because I think it's worth discussing their journeys. Starting with Dave. Dave has the most predictable, every movie like this, bosom buddies, whatever. He's the guy who he does this. He dresses up like a woman. He falls in love with a woman under false pretenses. She's of course upset with him, but then gets over it, and he ends up with a girl. That's the arc you expect.
Dave also wants a girl who's not like other girls.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, yeah. Which is like, okay, but you still want a hot girl. Which hot girls sure
don't have to be like other girls.
But so that's Dave's arc. Dave's arc is, that's the one that you knew you were going to get in this.
Yeah. And then do you want to talk about them individually? Or you're going to go through all the arc?
Let's talk about them individually. Probably the best.
So I think related to this, that relationship is doomed because Leah's gay.
Yes. Yeah.
And realize, like, I don't know, realized, but like, it seems like she was figuring that out in college, like as she was going through it. So they're not going to work. Well, they're not going to work because that she is definitely queer. And then also they're not going to work because the pretenses of that relationship are terrible.
Yeah. It's a massive lie.
Yeah. Built on a horrific lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, unless, Dave figures out something pretty big about himself, like I don't think you're getting over that.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that she, went for it is the type of thing that only happens in contrived movie plots.
Yep.
But yeah, she's not interested in men, even pretty men like Barry Watson.
Yeah.
Who was
the prettiest? He was the prettiest of them.
And acknowledged by them
before and
after. Yes. Yeah. Also, one more note about the Dave plotline, because this is such one of those things that really does only happen in movies like this. When he walks into the women's studies classroom and you have the teacher just being like, excuse me, I think you're in the wrong class. And it's just a auditorium full of women and he's the only man there. No. Men take women's studies classes. Like, that's ludicrous.
To get laid. What?
But damn if 12-year-old me wasn't like a man in a women's studies class.
Not in my America.
What's going on here?
Yeah, that was very contrived, like
Yes.
Yes.
everything else in this movie.
All right. But that's Dave's arc. Then we have what is my favorite of the three arcs, which is Adam's, which is that, again, Adam is an absolute scumbag who secretly tapes women, who all of that's terrible. And I don't think the resolution hits hard enough. But the actual journey of Adam realizing that he is an unattractive woman who the men like him despise and make fun of, and it giving him an existential crisis, is the most interesting thing that happens in this movie.
Yes. Also, his physicality when he moves, like when he's trying to be pretty and dainty, and then when he's just over it and he starts walking like just super masculine and just slumping his shoulders, it's like, oh, hon, are you at the end of your day? You just don't give a shit anymore. Oh, it's just perfect.
And I think one of the most, I have to assume they did this by accident. Just the fact that he refused to not wear high heels.
Yes, until the end.
Until the end
of the movie. Like that is just so perfect. That's just costuming and character. Just love it.
And then Harland Williams gets all the girls in Doghouse really high.
Well, he does, but let's give him a little bit more due because, well, one, it's acknowledged, but I thought it was going to be a bigger plot. The fact that he looks exactly like the woman in the painting in the doghouse.
Yeah,
but
the founder.
But I wanted that to pay off that he was the founder or something. Like I was hoping
that it was
for
his
some
grandmother or something,
or that it was his grandmother. Like I wanted more of a payoff, but instead it's just like a double take that they do when they look at the painting. But his journey is that they have an early scene where he's watching TV and then they say like, hey, you can't watch TV. Your name's on the chore wheel. And then the entire rest of the movie, the joke is that he is the only person doing chores in that house and has to do them constantly. And it seems like unacknowledged, but intentional that they keep just making his character do all of the housework.
Yeah.
Well, I actually do think he has a sort of interesting other, like, I don't know if it's really an arc, but like a emotional side quest, I'll say, where in the beginning of the movie, like he is the extreme party dude. I'm just like, oh, this guy's going to get so fucked up. Oh my God, this guy will do anything. And then he has a moment in the doghouse where everyone's just sort of like, sharing all their feelings in a circle. And he breaks down about it, about just this, like, this is kind of all I mean to people, basically. So I just keep getting fucked up and I keep just like, crushing beer cans against my head. Like that's my only value to people. And all the girls are kind of like, no, you're valuable to us. Like, oh man, that's.
And also they never address the fact that Harland Williams is 40.
Well, they do.
There's a little bit. They imply that he's been in college for a while, but
and he doesn't remember it.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's why I thought that maybe he was going to have turned out to have found the doghouse, because we get a scene in the beginning where he's looking at all the previous photos of the cock house, like, like group photos, and he's in all the photos from all the previous years. So it's definitely implied that he's, I mean, that's just like a Wolodarsky, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's a
thing.
trope of the college type movies where there's the one guy that just won't graduate.
Yeah.
Right. So we do kind of get that. But yeah, so he also it's not really the arc, but I do love the scene where they get kicked out. And the only reason they go into the doghouse initially is because they're starving college kids and they're offered free food.
Yep.
And they start eating it. And then Dave is trying to convince them. He's like, we should sign up. We need a place to stay. We got kicked out of our house. And Adam is like, no chance. And then they finally go to Doofer, like, what do you think? And he goes, I pledged 20 minutes ago. Like that. I did really appreciate that line.
Yeah, this movie is wild and inconsistent and all over the place. But I do think there are some genuine silver linings, and we kind of touched on them. So I guess we should full on pivot into said silver linings.
We should.
Okay, I'll start.
You start, Molly.
I'll start. Okay, I have many. So
all of them?
All of them. No, this one. So this is just maybe just me specific, but this movie introduced me to the song "Good Girls Don't, But I Do." So one, amazing silver lining, but two, this movie has a lot of really fantastic needle drops. That being my favorite. Just the montage of all of the guys like going about their days as women while that song plays is such a great use of that song. And especially because you are seeing Adina go through her day being harassed, which is just that like, fuck, man, like you really are watching her like live in it while this fantastic song is hitting. But that's always been one of the big silver linings for me. But no, I think the biggest one for me is actually it follows one of the biggest things I dislike in this movie, which is the Adina and Jimmy roofie plotline. But we're introduced to Adam's character in the beginning of the movie when he sleeps with two women, and when one of the women leaves his room, she goes down the hallway and the entirety of the cock house is lined the hallway. Yeah. And they chant this like walk of shame song. It was just fucking awful and gross. And I'm
going to guess super accurate.
Oh, I can almost guarantee it. Like just again, like just the Greek life just icks me out. But then you get to the end of the hallway and a guy pops up and like takes a Polaroid of her, and it's just awful. So when Adina goes to leave, their room after this roofie scene, everyone's lined up outside, and it's just this like awful recreation of that. And like she trips and she falls and like it's just horrible. But because it's Adam, she gets up, turns around to a guy and just fucking like clocks him in the face. Yeah. And it's both satisfying, but also like really emotionally resonant. I was just like, yeah,
real
dude.
Growth. Yeah. Look, he learned a little bit of empathy.
Yeah. Like, but just like, don't fucking do that.
Now, we don't even need to get into the fact that that's empathy that you should not have to learn.
Well, yeah.
But many a frat guy then and now probably don't have it. And yeah, no, I did like that scene too. I think that was, I don't know if it was enough to call it an arc for Adam/Adina, but it was a thing that happened and it was good.
I think it's a good scene. I don't know that.
Yeah, it is a good scene.
I don't think that's the arc, but I enjoy that scene. And I am just a big fan of watching douchebags get punched in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. But by the way, speaking of people getting punched in the face too, the sorority that is like tied to the cock house, the
Tri-Pies, which why didn't they have a lazy pun as their name?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, you would think they would, they should be, I don't know, like some sort of vagina pun, since they're the sorority tied to the cock house.
Should have been like VAG or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Like, just don't even be subtle.
Yeah.
Alpha Sigma Sigma, just ASS.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Cock and ass.
Yeah. Perfect. A match made in heaven.
Yeah. No, what I was gonna say is they really shine in the powder puff football.
Yeah, that's I think that's my favorite scene in the movie, is that they were good at football. Because with how lazy this movie is, you would think it would be a cliche that the ugly girls would just run over these little prissy sorority girls. No.
Yeah,
these girls are here to play.
Well, and similarly, not just like that the girls would, but you would think our three heroes. I mean, again, it's like what is it? She's the Man or whatever, or Ladybugs, whatever. Not She's the Man. That's the other. Ladybugs is the movie where there's a trope of that, of men playing women's sports and being really good at.
That is actually my favorite things, that they assume like, oh, with the three of us, we'll just crush them. And it's like, nah, man.
Well, and not only do they not crush them, but they're all taken out of the game because they're all beaten mercilessly. And it is the women actually have to win on their own without them, that they are no help. And even like we see that Adam can play football, but he just can't play football against these women because they're too mean and they just take him out.
They're just too violent.
Yep.
Yeah. But no, I enjoyed all of that. I also enjoyed I guess it's a post-credit scene or whatever you want to call it, but the fact that they get put on a life raft and then during the credits, there's just a joke that because they've been forgotten and they're just floating out to sea, that they have eaten one of the girls in the life raft.
As you do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I do sincerely, like, as generally boring as I think Dave's overall arc is, I do like his moment on the boat, like on the cocktail cruise, where he has to like reveal himself for Leah, because it actually does have stakes, which is the whole thing where like basically one of the business daddies is I think like goes up to Leah and just does a like, how'd you like to go to bed with a very rich man, which is gross. And she ends up like rejecting him. He pinches her on the ass and then she turns around and slaps him, which is all the right response.
Yeah.
And then she goes and is like sulking in the corner and they decide they're going to like play a game of dog catcher, which would be throwing her into the ocean. like, what the fuck? But as they're like about to do that, Dave tries to, get them to stop and they're not reacting. So Dave ends up calling out his dad and like in his like male voice and revealing himself. And like that honestly kind of hits for me. Just like overall, I'm not super into the like Dave, Daisy, Leah plot line, but with that, I'm like, you raised the stakes with that one.
I also want to point out that some of the rich daddies are played by the rich kids from Animal House. Mark Metcalf.
Are they really?
And James Doughton. Yeah.
That's
Mark
awesome.
Metcalf, who was Niedermeyer. Yeah.
And Dean Wormer has a
Dean
cameo.
Wormer's in it too. Yeah.
Yeah. As like
the
an
old man.
As an old man.
That's fantastic.
I don't think in any way this is a spiritual successor to Animal House other than being a college sex comedy, but that is fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's a successor to Animal House in that there's the one scene in Animal House where
there are a lot of sex crimes in both movies.
I was going to say where Blutarski climbs the ladder and spies on women changing clothes. So I think it's a spiritual successor to that scene.
Yes,
for sure.
or when Pinto is involved with the underage girl, there's that mood shows up later too.
Yeah. Or I guess, well, yeah, you know what? Now that we're really thinking about it, the entire Fawn Leibowitz plotline too. You know what? Animal House not okay.
It's not. It's not. Yeah. Last week we watched Billy Madison and talked about how so much surprisingly it held up. Animal House still has some great comedy in it, but that movie has not held up to modern standards.
I will say, since you mentioned it, and I think it is too well regarded actually to do on the show, I feel like, but PCU I feel like is a pretty solid spiritual successor to Animal House. That
I think so, more than
a
lot of other college movies.
Yes,
and I feel like it avoids a lot of the things that we're talking about aren't really in that movie so much, so that's good. And yeah, it's delightful. Watch PCU, except you can't because it's not streaming anywhere. Because that's how it works. There are certain movies
and the DVD is $200.
Although I will say, I mean, I did buy it. I found a used copy. Like if you look online, sometimes you can find it. But yes, if you try to buy it from certain places, it's gotten very expensive.
I'm sort of kicking myself for not, because I have an expansive DVD collection, much like you do. But it was on TV so much, I just never bought it.
Yeah, you thought it'd always be around.
And
yeah.
I regret that now. Because I can always go for a watch of PCU.
I watched it within the past year. Like, I definitely have watched it fairly recently. PCU is great. Side plug for PCU.
Also, if you want to have a terrible day, if you're ever just in the mood, go read the PCU reviews on Letterboxd because nobody understands that movie.
Yeah, that is the one place where it's maligned among the. I usually don't. Yeah, like get into the like generation fighting, but the young kids on Letterboxd do not seem to like or appreciate PCU.
But also, older generations are just like, God, this is exactly what's going. It's like, oh no.
Oh yeah,
no.
That is true. You get two camps. You get the younger camp that didn't seem to get it, and the older camp who thinks that PCU is an endorsement of not liking PC culture, which is not what that movie is either.
No. It's probably closer to lampooning PC culture, but I think that like it comes from a place of some of it's silly, but we really should be respecting people.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, the right take.
Right. Yeah. I think if anything, that movie is an endorsement of George Clinton and how cool it would be if he showed up at your house party. I think that's primarily what it's about.
Yes, that is
the uniting force of P-Funk. Yeah.
Yeah. That, you know, if you're nice to them, they bring you things.
Also,
if you're a hot girl, you can get a lot more done just by.
Actually, you know what? That is true. The lesson that the women in that learned that are the equivalent of the doghouse in that movie are just that they can take advantage of men if they pretend to be nice to them. Which is a good lesson.
It's a good lesson.
It's a powerful lesson.
Yeah.
I love PCU.
Also, the other important lesson that we all learned from that movie is don't wear the shirt of the band that you're going to see.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
But yeah, anyway, that's PCU. That's as much as we ever get to talk about that, because again, I don't think it has low enough scores, but
I guarantee it had bad reviews at the time.
Yeah.
Because all comedies do.
Fine, we'll do PCU.
All right, then.
I mean, if you look on Letterboxd.
All right. But yeah, Molly, so I think we've covered the hits and the highs and lows of Sorority Boys. But, you know, like I said, you've wanted this for a long time. So I want to give you all the time you need to make sure that you get all the points that you want.
Okay, well, first, we haven't finished covering it because dildo fight. And I have a few thoughts on the dildo fight.
Dildo fight.
Yeah. Okay, so I realized this last night, which is something I've never realized. But so the doghouse constantly is having dildos launched at it. Well, that's not true. Sometimes they're vibrators. This is addressed in the movie when Leah has to smash the vibrator that starts going off. Anyway, by the KOK house, they like have a big
catapult.
Water balloon launcher,
essentially. Slingshot, whatever. Yeah.
Yes, slingshot. That was the word I was looking for. To launch dildos at the doghouse that go smashing through their windows. So, you know, comical harassment. I'll say
bold of them to assume that the doghouse. Yeah.
Like,
bold of them to assume that the doghouse didn't have plenty of dildos and vibrators in the house already.
Yeah. Weird.
Like, yeah, because if there's one thing that women who are separated from men and ostracized from them don't have, it's a bunch of sex toys to keep themselves happy.
Yeah, guys.
But that shows.
Talk to the three men who lived there. But okay, so you have this whole operation that is launching dildos at the doghouse, and they're like, "Oh God, this is so awful! Like, why do they keep doing this?" But then we learn from the dildo fight that they keep all of them in a basket by the door. Why? Why are you keeping all of these dildos in a basket by the door? Is it just for the communal use? Are these dildos that they got themselves? Are these just different dildos? There's a large variety of them.
Is that just a community pot in the middle of the house?
Yeah. Also, by the front door.
Yeah. So, well, maybe those are guest dildos.
Maybe those are guest dildos.
I'm going to guess the men that wrote this movie did not put enough thought into it.
I also, do you know what else I'm thinking about now is so if we accept this, because let's just accept the reality of the world. So these are community dildos that are kept in the front room of the doghouse. This is the world that they live in. Sure.
They're right by the step, like the bottom of the steps, kind of like you would keep like a basket for umbrellas. Like,
yeah.
But
so they have that there. They have that there. But the thing we know that they don't have, based on a scene where Patty barges into the room with our three heroes, is any sort of communal tampons. And I think,
but here's the thing. That's actually not true, because at the beginning of the dildo fight, I was watching this very closely last night. Adina takes a handful of tampons out of a basket and chucks them at Daisy.
But maybe Patty went and got those because she finally went, you know what? I'm tired of having to barge into everyone's room to borrow. What if I just they put that on the list for Harland Williams to go buy. That's a deleted scene where his character has to go buy tampons for everybody.
That's probably true. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then, so we have this like community basket of dildos. So they start using them as swords. So then the next thing I noticed was that Adina does appear to like actually know how to fence. Daisy, not so much. Daisy's just defending herself. But Adina is actually taking like proper fencing posture.
That's Rosenbaum, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because he's taken stage combat for Smallville. 100%. That's he knows how. Because of all as we all remember, and I watched every episode of that show, all of the dildo fights that Clark and Lex had on that show.
Okay, see, I never watched Smallville.
So few people were watching CW that they just got away with it.
Yeah. Well, and also, I think they were way more concerned with what Allison Mack was doing the whole time. So.
I know that's the problem is they weren't.
Yeah. If they needed to be keeping an eye on her, the dildo fight's least of their problems. Yeah,
that was a front. That's how she got away with it all. They were so worried about the dildo fights.
If you don't get that joke, you're in for a heartbreak if you Google Allison Mack.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Smallville and don't get that joke, we're sorry.
Yeah, it's gonna ruin it.
I do have one other silver lining I want to point out, just because I like this person, but it's directed by Wallace Wolodarsky, who is one of the most prolific Simpsons writers, and I think that's an important thing for people to know that Jay Kogan and Wallace Wolodarsky wrote a lot of the season 2 through 6 episodes of The Simpsons.
Nice.
That is totally a silver lining. That's awesome.
That's a fun fact. And he was if you're a fan of Wes Anderson movies, Wallace Wolodarsky was Jason Schwartzman's assistant in Owen Wilson's assistant in Darjeeling Limited.
Nice. Yeah. Those are silver linings. Yeah.
But one of the big reasons that The Simpsons was as good is definitely Wallace Wolodarsky.
I did not know that, and that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Which also, I don't know, and I actually don't think that he would have written it because I think it's too late. But if you want a good college parody, the episode where Homer has to go back to college is a great subversion of college tropes.
I think that's a Conan O'Brien episode.
Actually, I think you're right. I think that is a Conan O'Brien episode, but that's a great one.
It's a great one.
It subverts all of those tropes very well.
School of Hard Knockers.
You know that title was floated for this movie.
Oh, God.
Apparently, real fun fact about it, a title that actually was floated for this was Dog Catchers. Yeah.
Sorority Boys is such a good title.
It is. And I'm so glad the only thing they took a second pass on was the title.
I mean, it was the right move for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Molly, did we do it? Did we cover it?
I think we did it. Like I said, I love this movie with many apologies. But
all justified.
Yeah. I should not have been watching this when I was 12. But I'm so happy I did.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw Animal House for the first time right around then, and that's far worse.
Yeah. No, my dad showed me Animal House when I was way too young to be watching Animal House.
Yeah.
And Airplane, which also has its fair share of content that I should have been watching.
Yeah.
I definitely remember my parents like, oh, we should watch Animal House. It's a classic. And then forgetting like just how raunchy some parts were. And they're like, oh, we're in it now. We've done it.
No, that was my dad's Achilles heel, was all of those comedies he loved to show to us and did not in any way think about our ages.
That was my dad with Monty Python's Holy Grail. And then when they get to the Castle Anthrax, I so vividly remember my dad's face just going like, oh, crap. Which I was old enough to understand and my brother was not. But I had that of like, oh no, we're all here. Oh no, what do we do?
Man, if Brett Goldstein is listening, you should add a question to your Films to be Buried With podcast about asking people, what is the movie that your parents showed you too young and realized was inappropriate halfway through?
Or in most people's cases, pick one.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. But we did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah. And also, again, I think you said it, but just to hit the biggest silver line, the soundtrack slaps. Like, this is a good soundtrack.
It's great. Yeah, it's really good.
It's so good. You guys, good girls don't, but I do.
Silver Linings Playback is a production of HoboTrashCan.com. If you enjoyed the show, please rate or review it on Apple Podcasts. Hear more great shows on the Peak Sloth Podcast Network.